Hello friends, welcome, it's Big Dano Paints. And at some point soon, Andy Bucknell's going to be joining me, the judge extraordinaire from the recent Guilds Inn. At some point soon. Maybe. But yes, g'day Doms. We are going to paint some cool toy soldiers tonight. Soon, but I'm just going to fix up. I've got quite a few Kingdom Death models, and there's quite a few awesome ones, and there's quite a few that I spent a shit ton of money on that aren't currently getting utilised. Because I haven't painted them. So I'm going to set up all my Kingdom Death models in displays in my cabinet. I have a super cool cabinet. It's pretty cool, hey Moss?
Awesome.
Yeah, good answer. Correct answer. Fully sick? Like, and I'm going to divide them into, so they came in boxes, like these are Echoes of Death, these ones. This one's an Echoes of Death. And then these ones are new ones. These are called Indomitable Survivors. Which is a new thing that they've been doing recently. So I actually just want to assemble all of them for starters, and then slowly work my way through painting them, because in some cases, and in the case of this particular guy that I'm holding right now, I paid $30 for this guy to get 3 pieces of cardboard, which are excellent pieces of cardboard in the game. They're very useful things. But $30 for 3 pieces of cardboard is exceptionally excessive. But they come with this model. So if I paint this model, I'll feel like my investment in those models is exceptionally worthwhile. The same with this. However, if I don't paint the model, I'm going to sit there looking at them and think to myself, what a fucking waste of $30, Dano. Or something like that. You know? So, that's the end of my story. Hey Jimmy, no mate, I actually mailed Neon Knights to both of the events. Send it in the post. Very fortunate. Hello there, Timbo. To have lovely people that will accept it for me. I probably should. Or Camelot. Yeah, Neon Knights got to run its course on the weekend. We've got one more event for it. It's gonna be at the Queensland Model Hobby Expo, but that's kind of a Big Dano event that just Big Dano goes to. Great event. And Siona goes to it, I suppose, but yeah, that'll be it, and then we'll be heading off to the wonderful Verco's Vault Museum of Miniatures. That's where it's gonna survive and live with many other incredible pieces of artwork. Most of them not mine. Mossy's being a real pest over there. She's trying to get my attention, aren't you, Moss? Are ya? You sure? Yeah. Come and say hi to Timbo.
Hi, Timbo.
No, come and do it over here. It's important. Got to be friends with everyone now, Mossy. I don't have to, no. I'm not capable of that, mate, but Mossy is. Say hi, Timbo. Oh, there's your hand. Good one. Welcome to the internet. Take a look around. We'll see. Bucks is joining us tonight. He even made me do a social media post, so he's doing a wonderful, wonderful job at managing the Saturation Generation team. Yeah, cooked. Unsurprising, mate. A lot of effort. G'day, Jared. A lot of effort goes into those events. Definitely doesn't go unappreciated, I don't think, but it still hits you pretty hard sometimes. Match Fixer. 21 months. That's almost 2 years, mate. Incredible. Appreciated. Unnecessary. All right, so I'm going to show you. This is smart. This is Echoes of Death, so that's fine. She's good. This is Longclaw Lenore. She's also a $30 model. Good work. I should turn this down a bit. Come on, Dino. Get your shit together. Yeah, so she's good. Maybe we'll put her on this. That'll work. Obviously got lots of things to talk about with the guilds in, but we're waiting for the special guest Andrew Bucknell before we talk about that. That's assuming he hasn't fallen asleep again. Oh, this is gonna suck, Dano. Why'd you do this? Oh, good. I will talk a little bit about the event because I think it's important that you will have something interesting to listen to whilst I'm doing something very boring. I'll just tell you a little bit about my trip. So, Mossy and I flew down on Friday about lunchtime. We left just to give ourselves enough time to get down there and not feel rushed. We were, I think, the first year that Mossy came down, which was also her first year meeting everyone. Poor thing. She, we flew down sort of 4 o'clock, I think, and we were in a bit of a rush to get to the venue, and I think that probably didn't help her. Just a bit, disjointed, unsettled, particularly with meeting new people. So this year we had plenty of time. We got to our hotel. We got to, go and buy bits and pieces, and felt much more relaxed. Getting to the venue. Probably also helped that Mossy knows everyone as well now. So we stayed at the same place we did last year, which is the Quest St Leonard's. Recommend it for everyone that is not going to need it because there's events at a new place this year. Although, from what Mossy did research on today, it looks... I was just about to say that, you peanut! Can you relax? You relax. Just killing me. Absolutely killing me. Yes, well, it'll still be a solid venue for next year. If you're thinking of coming, it'll still work A-OK. What did you paint this afternoon, Jared? Have you started a new project, or...? An event like this will often go one of two ways for me. It'll cook me to the point where I'm like, I can't do any more painting. I'm just exhausted. Or it'll motivate the crap out of me, and I'll be like, yes, the time has come for me to throw some hands. Which one was it? You'll have to wait and see when Bucks and I talk about it. Welcome to the internet. Take a look around. So Friday night, the social function, hosted by the magnificent PRM. Great time. Really great time. I'm not one for socialising with people in general, and that night was no exception. But I was there, and I got to pretend that I was interested in talking to people, and that's great. Saturday event, breakfast, and very delightful. Actually, I've got to tell you, I had what I would consider the best bacon and egg roll that I've ever had in my entire life on Saturday morning. So that's actually a real highlight of the weekend for me. Was that bacon and egg roll? It was absolutely exceptional. From what was the place called, Mossy? No, was it Charlie and Horse? Charlie and Frank's, St Leonard's. Best bacon egg roll of my life. Recommend checking it out. G'day, Space Toy. Fen Model Show this weekend. Well done, Space Toy. Won a gold in Masters. Excellent effort, mate. Well deserved. Where you belong in the Masters category. Well, still. Good enough, mate. Good enough. Hat in the ring, mate. Hat in the ring. That's the key. Yes, we had the guilds in on the weekend, mate, and I think the real highlight for myself and probably for most people is absolutely that social aspect of these events. And I've done a lot of reflecting since Guilds in about some things that I want to take to the Crimson Brush, and I've had a couple of ideas which I'm very excited about. Very, very excited about, actually. Well, we're going to have Bucks joining us soon, mate, and we'll talk with him about the Guilds in. He had a unique perspective as he was judging. So, we'll be able to dive into that in a lot of detail. But the short answer is this was wonderful time. Wonderful time. That's Alison the Twilight Knight. Grimmery, yeah. What a cool guy. Do we want to have him walking up that? Or down that? No. He needs to be on a flat surface. Come on now. Fuck. Where is my... That's good, yeah. I was just saying before that the events will often go one of two ways for me. I'll reach a point where I get very enthusiastic about new projects, or it'll just be a bit of a reflection on I need to relax and just do some stuff for fun. Both of those things are totally fine outcomes to have. But it is nice when it is that first one of motivation. I'm gonna share this guy. This guy is such a sick model. Look at him. What an absolute beast. His name is Titus. Lord's Ruin Titus. $300 entrants is exceptional. Is this? So I don't actually know too much about Fen Model Show. I'm pretty sure it's run by Fen, but is it? It's relatively new, isn't it? It's only like its third year, off the top of my head. Is that accurate, or am I pulling that number out of my ass? There you go. The autism strikes again. Here he is, Buxo! Hang on a second, my speakers are just shit house today. Hang on, I think my speakers are absolutely cooked today. Just speak again, buddy.
No problem.
No, awful. Hey, Mossy, can you bring me my headphones? We're going to have to headphone that shit tonight. You can't hear me? Yeah. Mossy's just being a pest, mate.
It's not really for real life, though.
Good one. You going to bring your head on the screen or not?
Bring your head.
My head's already on the screen, Moss. Thank you. That's great. Not exactly helpful, but good start. Alright, hang on a second. So, first of all, I'm going to turn Bucks' face on the camera. Boom. So if Bucks turns his camera on, we should see him, which is a good start. Then I'm going to plug this in. Okay. All right, Bucks, try again. Can you talk for me? No. Hang on. Try again. No. Hang on, try again. What have I done? I've absolutely cooked something here. This will be a disappointing end to a great weekend, won't it, Bucks? Let's try that plan. All right. Hang on. Fuck. Try again. No. What have I done?
What have you done?
Try again.
This is very unlike you, Trent. This stream has been nothing but a professional and well established and well run.
Okay. The audio is all over the shop, and I have no idea why. I can't even get Bucks to sound clear. How can I restart my sound thing?
You can hear me clear in Discord, right?
Yeah, your Discord's fine. It's the actual audio. Let me try. Sound. How are you anyway, Bucks? You alright, mate?
Yeah, mate, yeah. I'm absolutely cooking on fumes at this point in time. I did have a cheeky little nap, just we got home at about 3 in the afternoon. So, punched the footy on. The Mighty Hawks absolutely tear the crows from you on. To be on their merry way, Trent, to 9 of their last 12.
Yeah, they're on a tear, aren't they? Okay, I think I may have resolved it slightly, but now I'm just going to test for people that are listening. I need to turn that. What do I need to do? I need to add a audio input capture, which is none of those. It's working beautifully. All right. Does Bucks just talk for me?
Yeah, sure.
That didn't work. Try again. Hello, Sean. Can you hear Bucks okay when we talk then? Talk for me again, Bucks. Did I succeed? Oh, fuck. Alright, well, how's that? Talk again, Bucks?
Yo.
Did that work?
Yeah, that worked.
Hey, Kalen. Alright, we did it. Dino's fucking legendary. What a fucking champion. My fucking sound was fucked.
All right,
Fixed it.
how are we?
Oh,
Yeah, Deno's got to be. You've got a bit of an echo, Trent. That's the only thing.
Oh. Hang on. You talk, Bucks?
Yeah, I'm talking.
Okay, I've sorted it. Here it is. I remove that. Yes.
There
Talk,
it
Bucks.
Yes, we're here.
Fixed. You're all welcome. Hello, everyone.
Oh, absolute astounding. Saved the day.
Mate.
Honestly, Chad Kroger. They think that Chad Kroger wrote a song called "Hero" for Spider-Man. Horseshit. They wrote it for Trent Denizen.
It was actually me. And they say that a hero could save us. I'm not gonna stand here and wait. What a great tune.
That was actually just a straight banger, that song, right?
Yeah.
I challenge anyone to tell me that song's not a great song. So look at this. Look at the commitment from some legends. Cragzog Seamus has literally been home 10 minutes from the show. He's already in the stream.
Is
Love it.
is that gold medal award winning Seamus?
That is gold medal award winning Seamus.
Yes.
The Zogger.
Cragzogs, the guy who had to use Dano's name on all of his fucking jokes at the trivia. Oh, you wouldn't have got
Really?
that box. Yeah.
I
Every,
didn't-
every time you get to pick your name, so he changed
Yeah.
his name to Little Dano and all sorts
Yeah.
of other things, you know. The hero
Nice.
worship is evident, but
He's the Vegemite kid, mate. Yeah, how good is the Vegemite uniform? I love it.
I do love the Vegemite, actually. Back in the day, I used to have a podcast called Oz Machine, and we actually used to have a Vegemite version of the Oz Machine logo.
Yeah.
It was quite
Yeah.
tremendous. Quite tremendous. Let's talk the guilds in, Buxo. How did you
Well,
feel, my man?
Before that, what have you got going on the table here, mate? What do you like? You know,
Well-
it takes a lot to just jump straight into rip the band-aid off after getting home, probably late last night.
We're gonna
Rip the
pay.
band-aid off. You're already on it.
We're gonna paint some of this later on, or maybe I'll bring out the other guy. But no, I've as you know, I've been playing a lot of Kingdom Death recently, and one of the
Yeah.
things that I've done with Kingdom Death is I've spent thousands of dollars on models
You have.
that I haven't painted or had anything to do with, because in those models, and I'll use this one as an example, this is called Longclaw Lenore. She's a wonderful character. She comes with one piece of cardboard, which is called the Indomitable Resource, which you gain, and then she comes with a second piece of cardboard, which is the gear that you can make if you pick up that resource,
Yeah.
and that's $30
Right.
with this model. So I've paid
Yep.
$30 and I've used those two things and had a wonderful time with those two things, but I feel a little bit silly spending $30 on two pieces of cardboard.
Look, don't, because you're welcomed into a broader community. It's called the TCG community, and $30 on cardboard is but a drop in the ocean in that space. So
Butter
Welcome.
dropped. So
we can't take any of it with us when we go, mate. So it's all about getting some fun out of it while we're here, right?
it is. But I do feel a little bit like a special kiddo. So I'm just trying to get some models put on bases, and then I'm gonna put them in my display cabinet and have a little collection of models.
You're reading these comments. You're getting towed up in the chat. Craig Sock's getting in on you. Jimmy's getting in on you.
Fair enough. Crimson. We'll talk about it soon because I had some great ideas, but my number one I'm going to tell you right now because I was jazzed about it.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to give people little badges, little badges that says, "I'm a first-time entrant. Come and talk to me."
Yep. Okay.
What a great
Some
idea! I'm all about it.
You're all about this, right? Sure. Look, I love the gusto, and I love what it represents very, very much. But I'm not sure our first-time entrants are going to love wearing it.
They're gonna love wearing it, mate. They're gonna love it.
The noob badge, as Tom said, who wants a noob badge?
Well, look, we're trying to. One of the things that I was observing on the weekend, right? A lot of people love the social aspects, right? I'm less about the social aspects, and I want to talk about a couple of things that I saw, which I was really excited about. But yeah, the social aspects is one of the reasons that we all love it.
Yes, this is true.
Right?
Probably the main reason we all love it.
Yeah,
Really.
and other people don't necessarily get to experience it in the way that we do, because maybe socially they're not as capable, or maybe they don't know anyone, right? So I felt like what we need is a way for the people that are in our community who already do a wonderful job of introducing new people, right? Like that's the thing, they do a wonderful job, but what they probably don't know is, hey Simon, what they probably don't know is when someone is new. You know, maybe you can feel it, but you can't always. So
Yes.
if we're giving them a little lens, I reckon everyone will jump up to the plate and say, "Hey, I can't wait to talk to these new people. I'd love to. So that was just my idea. I think it's a great idea. I'm really excited about it. So
Yeah. I mean, principally, I think it's great. Everything's worth a try. Everything's worth a shot. So, you miss 100% of the shots you don't
Oh,
take.
Wayne
But
Gretzky by Michael Scott.
yeah, yeah, we'll see how it goes.
All right, let's talk Guilds in. I completely went off tap there because I was excited about my idea. But let's talk about the wonderful experience that we had at the Guilds Inn.
Yes, at the Guilds Inn. Yeah, man. I mean, where do we start? It's a pretty jam-packed weekend. The Guilds Inn. Where would you like?
have you been holding on to that one for a while? It was a pretty jam packed
Yeah,
with
yeah,
jam sessions.
yeah. That was pretty good. I don't. Any pun that I make is unintentional, man.
All right,
I'm
well.
not think that far ahead, mate. That kind of talent just comes naturally, I guess. Yeah, no. Where do you want to start? Like, what do you want to kick off? Where do people want us to kick off who are in the chat that attended the weekend? Like, what do we want to throw out there? Do we want to throw out, there's obviously a fairly distinct change to judging. We can talk about results. We can talk about jam sessions. We can talk about trivia and community building.
Let's talk about the jam sessions because you and I both hosted jam sessions.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel your jam session went? What do you see?
Um,
What do you see as the value of jam sessions?
Yeah, I think my approach to jam sessions is actually realistically, I'm just a facilitator in the room, and I just want to raise a few topics and let people talk about them and sort of see if we can gain value out of it as a team. And I think that from what I've spoken to, I tried to not only try to sort of obviously be really interactive with everyone in the jam session and have everyone participating in the jam session, but I also really like to spend time, a few hours after they happen to just get around and sit with people and talk to them and ask them what their experience was and, what they may have enjoyed and what could be better. Always what could be better. While it's fresh too, I'm not someone that always wants to go away and sort of fill a feedback form in. For me personally, just sitting down and having a chat is probably my optimal way. So I thought, well, if I like that, maybe some other people probably like that too. So, yeah. What was my intention with the jam session? It's a great question, Craig's.
Craig's
I mean, there are
started
people.
hot.
You started hot. There are people in the stream who attended the jam session. So, I mean, realistically, we should be asking them what they got out of the jam session. Feel free if you did attend the jam session, just dump your thoughts in there, share it with people. You can't use the word normally now. Yeah. Look, if all I achieved was to infuse the word intent to people's brains and create some kind of trauma surrounding the word, then maybe it's done its job. How about yourself, mate? I took a bit more of a nebulous approach in the subject. I often I guess it's a bit of painting philosophy and, I know sharing our feelings about things, something that feelings are very attached to miniature painting. So I think getting them out there and getting them either talking about them or expelling them can be very beneficial in us growing as miniature painters. How about you?
Mine was great. I really felt good about mine at the end of it. So I obviously went with a slightly more structured and planned approach than you did, but I did try to be a little loose as well, because I said right at the start of my jam session that, I think there's a language that we use here which is jam session and not class, and there's intent behind that. Love that word, by the way. Because we want it to not be someone talking at you. We want it to be a discussion, a conversation about, whatever it may be, the topic at hand. But we want to be encouraging a dialogue and literally jamming with each other and bouncing ideas off each other. So my avenue for doing that in my diorama jam session was I pulled about 20 minutes, 30 minutes of just sort of, ideas, concepts, things that you should think about in dioramas, and I'll come back to something that I said that I think is really important. And then for the next hour and a bit, we looked over just dioramas that I downloaded from the internet. Many of them, I think I had about 30, and we just sort of talked about, does this work? Why does it work, or why does it not work? What would we do differently? And we got a lot of value out of that, I think. I certainly did, and it was cool to see people's understanding of aspects change. So the thing that I said at the start of the jam session was it's important that we get our language away from right and wrong. We talk about things like value contrast, or textual contrast or scale contrast. We don't want there to be a language of there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. Those are just levers that we control. You can have a model that has very little value contrast that still looks exceptional, right? So the difference is, with that language is by stopping people thinking about right and wrong, we start thinking about, well, why did the person do this? And understanding the why is often a critical part of the learning journey. So, yeah, I was really happy with it. I had some great feedback today from a couple of guys. So, yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, fantastic. Seamus is saying he spent a lot of time in the jam session thinking and reflecting on his own painting process and journey. Well, that's a big win. I hope you have found some answers there, mate, and I think it'll definitely impact your journey in the future too. Jam sessions are really interesting. I mean, one of the big changes that obviously Guilds Inn announced that we're going to do as the venue moves and grows in size is that jam sessions, I shouldn't say the Guilds Inn staff are going to do. We're just guests there, actually. The team with Guilds Inn, so that would be Jared, Timbo, Seb, and Jim, have how did Migback do? In what regard? I'll answer that later. They moved venue, and as such, in moving venue, are able to start to provide or evolve the jam session format to be both jam sessions and workshops. So workshops will fulfill 4-hour time slots, and jam sessions will remain at 2 hours. What do you think about that, mate?
I like it. Yep. I was kind of against the class concept at the event and at our event as well. Like, I think what I said was I feel like classes take away from what the most important thing is, which is getting people together, and classes put people in a room and separate them. So, in a way, I don't like classes, but at the same time, our goal is upskilling the community and helping them be better. And that's a great goal as well. And so sometimes those two things can be in opposition, and that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it's just about trying to figure out the blend, right? How can we provide both services to the community?
Migback got a bronze, if I remember rightly, mate. Is that right?
No. Migback got a silver in Masters.
Ah, yes. Exceptional work, Migback.
He received a silver in Masters for his Witchhorn, I believe. Well, Witchhorn was the standout piece.
As a judge, I think you should know the answer to that question, Andrew.
I do know the answer to that question. So it'll be interesting to see where we go. It'll be what is really interesting to see is with community leaders and people who are a little bit more down the way with their journey with painting, and probably in a position that they're more interested in giving than receiving in regards to the community. It'll be interesting to see who falls on the I would like to teach classes and who falls on the I would like to do jam sessions.
Or who falls on the I would like to do none of those things.
I would like to do none of those things. So that'll be pretty cool. What else? The jam sessions that we had. So we had obviously Trent doing a jam session on
dioramas
and analysis. You had
composition.
Yeah, you had myself doing a jam session on taking a good piece to great. You had Kyle Morgan and Jordan, they were doing a jam session on Facing the Facts, which was like a combination of Jordan demonstrating his approach to painting faces, and I think Kyle. I didn't actually manage to stop on this one. I think Kyle was just talking through some of the things he's learned in his journey with painting faces. Then we also had Natalia or Nat Eva, who was doing a freehand workshop, and then we had Liam, who did a resin pouring workshop. Now, the Liam House's workshop, the first one, the first cab off the rank, the resin pour, was very ambitious for a
2 hour
jam
time
session.
slot.
2 hour time slot, but man, he nailed it, eh? Like,
Did he?
That guy, yeah. I think they got the like I believe Siona provided an awesome base to learn how to resin pour on, and so it was the perfect sort of demonstration point. And I was the second jam session up, so I saw that cooking in the corner the entire time. It was just a little foil, a base with a little foil over it. I'm like, what's this? I went to peel it up. I'm like, I'm probably not going to touch that. That looks like resin pour, but I believe it turned out really well. So
I did touch it, so. But I was
Did you really?
I was on the second
Yeah.
day, so I'm okay.
yeah, you were safe. You were safe.
Also, Liam was in the room.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so I think the one thing I did like is that there was a fairly broad amount of subject matter, but I thought we covered a lot of what was involved in this sort of painting.
G'day, Alexi. What? I'm hearing. Sorry, I'm just changing this so I can try and get this fucking thing out of my way. Did we hit a different vibe this year? It's an interesting question. I mean, we've got Crimson, we've got Arc, we've got Guilds in, and I don't think we're intentionally trying to, like make them feel different. I think they're just naturally sort of moving in different directions based on the organisations and where they came from as well. Like Arc Open obviously came out of a 40k event, and so it sort of has a little bit more oriented towards figures, wargaming figures, whereas Arc sort of came out of the Sydney Display Painters, Guild came out of the Sydney Display Painters Guild, and so it sort of leans a little bit more that way. Crimson, so to answer the question, it definitely feels like its own thing, and I think that the organisation is exceptional. I think what they're trying for each year, what they're pushing things in a different way, is absolutely working. So, this year the big change was the change to a display instead of just individual figures. How did you feel that went, Bucks? And how did you feel that went judging it as well?
Just a shout out to Alexi for chucking in a bit more depth on what Kyle's and Jordan's jam session was. Cheers, mate. Appreciate that. It's important to make sure we know everything that went on in those. It was actually a bummer. I just want to say quickly, it was a bummer not to be able to at least stop in on every jam session once and sort of have an in-depth listen, because it's something that you want to do as a jam session facilitator. You're kind of like, you're no different, right, than the people sitting in the room, Trent. You really want to catch everything and have a good listen for the most part, but it's just not something you can't do.
I intentionally didn't come into your class. I didn't want to take away any focus from you, but I was quite keen to listen to your class and what you were talking about. But I didn't want to.
Yeah, I understand that. And it's the same goes. I was fortunate. I had both Jordan and Nat in my jam session, so we were really able to lean on the strengths and confidence of those two people in the jam session to really help contribute. So big shout out to both of those two, because they really led the way and sort of got people talking as well, and that's the sort of stuff that we really need in the community. So I really appreciated their efforts in that regard. Yeah, so in regards to the judging, let's move on to the judging now.
Yeah, with specific focus
Yeah,
around how judging
focus
with
on the change.
displays.
Yeah. If we're a little bit rambly tonight, please bear with us, friends. It's absolutely sort of moments after really getting home from the event. So, um, the judging, yeah, I mean, it's a completely new system here in Australia. It's the first time trying it. It's a system that's, I think, very familiar in other parts of the world, but it was something that the Guild event organizers wanted to try over here and felt that it would add value to the community. So, firstly, what's very interesting about it from a community perspective is it starts, or an entrance perspective, it starts to shape how you view your own work and what you kind of have to basically do an analysis of what your work is before you submit it. Um, that's going to be a big change to what people have been used to here in Australia, because we have encouraged for a long time for you to just sort of bring everything you want to bring and put in whatever you want. Now, I don't think one way is better than the other in this regard. I think it's just great to maybe maintain having both. What do you think, Trent? Because I think they highlight different things, and I think it promotes like a different skill set within the painter as well.
I think there's value in both, right?
Yeah.
And I'll speak from an organisational perspective and how I
Hmm.
see Crimson, and probably give you a little bit of insight into that, and then I'll talk about it as an entrant. So when when I think about it from an organisational perspective, one of the goals of our event or any event is making an event sustainable, right? Having an event not create financial hardship on the organisation or on the community. So the value of having as many entries as we can get is that it's going to increase the amount of money that the event has coming in, which is a very important part of building a sustainable event. So on the one hand, from an organisation, having something that encourages people to bring more things, I think is great. Um,
Hmm.
but what you do see as a result of that is potentially a dilution of the skill. Hey, Paul. Um,
Hey, Paul.
a painter will bring stuff that they've done that maybe isn't a reflection of their best stuff, but they're excited about it, or whatever it may be.
Hmm.
And a great example of that actually on the weekend was Dave. So
Yes.
he brought 12 models, and then he ended in entering four. Is that
No,
right?
he brought 8 and brought 6.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
So
he brought 8, entered 6. Yeah.
yeah. Um, and I think that yeah, having something that encourages people to bring more of their work is a bonus,
Yeah.
but it does the dilute potentially the overall quality of the entries in question. So, from an organisational perspective, I think there's value in both. From a
I just want to add. Sorry to
yeah,
interrupt you there, mate.
you're
I
right,
think
mate.
it only dilutes your standing in this particular format, right? And that's the difference. There is when it is judging you on a display.
Sure. Yep.
That's where it happens. Now that's the big the big difference. That's the defining feature.
Yeah.
Um, I think where the benefit is in it is that it starts to force you to be critical about your own work. Um, and I think that that's a skill that we do need to develop
Mm.
as um, painters, hobbyists, makers, artists, whatever you want to call yourself. Because I think that it is a key tool in progressing in your journey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Particularly if you're interested in the competitive slash award winning part of this particular endeavor.
That's
So there's just a couple of questions in the chat or some comments. Jimmy's asked, when you say evaluate bucks, is that about bringing pieces that are your best or consistent show of different skills? It's about either bringing well, for the most part, it's about bringing your best, but there is another way to think about entering displays um,
I was
that we
actually one of the
might
things that
cover.
one of the things I wanted to say is I got really excited about the idea of building a display intentionally, having
Yes.
having like a theme running through my display, and
Yeah.
having like a color palette or a story element that tied all of it together. Like I actually
Yeah.
thought that had it was not something I'd thought of doing before, and that excited me. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
I think some entrants, or at least I know at least one, really thought about that and I was quite appreciative of that approach to the competition. And I hope that that inspires others in the future to participate in a similar way. Um, yeah, that's the one, Sammy. Um, did I enjoy judging, and are there stressful elements? I really enjoy judging. I enjoy the collaborative nature of jury-based judging. I really enjoy um, the back and forth of judging, and I love hearing different perspectives. And in judging, you get a very raw sort of uh, unfiltered. This is sort of how I feel about things, and what that then instigates is really really valuable conversation. I learned like so much in this judging process. Um, I got to spend some time with
One of your
Sebastian.
heroes.
I think just someone who's made such a massive contribution to the Australian um, painting and miniature community, and someone who continues to find ways to keep contributing, right?
Mm.
And so Sebastian's obviously done a lot of judging, a lot of in-person judging as well, and has been sort of a mainstay for the last 3 years in a lot of judging panels. So getting to sort of sit under Sebastian and really learn about his approach, and how he thinks about competition, um, is honestly one of the most valuable things I've done in my journey to date. Um, and to share that experience with the event organizer, who also took the role of judging in a similar role to I was actually technically I was like the novice judge for on in-person judging, right? Like JC obviously judged at Arc Open as well. This was my first contribution to judging an in-person event here in Australia. Whether it were being in one of the guilds in Crimson Brush or Arc Open. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. Is it stressful? Um, no, I don't think it's stressful. It is hard, and it's hard because you know that you have a responsibility
Mm.
to deliver outcomes, and delivering outcomes is a twofold sword. A two-way, a two-way sword. It's or two-way street. I can't even think about what I'm saying. Apologies. Um, a double-edged sword. They're all in there. It's 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 really tough to see people who maybe don't quite achieve the results they were hoping for. That's not a great feeling. Particularly because that's not, I'm yet to find, well, I hope there isn't people out there that enjoy that, because that would really suck. And obviously on the opposite side of it, you get to see people that do achieve their goals. So, you're going to make some days, you're going to break some days. But the one that I probably enjoy the most is it's the entrants that least expect that they're going to have some success, and then the impact that that has on them. Because I think watching someone grow in confidence and immediately, it's like you immediately see a little like skill bar that goes off at the top of their head. It's like bing,
Bing, bing,
plus
bing,
10
bing, bing, bing,
confidence.
bing,
You
bing,
know
bing,
what
bing,
I
bing, bing,
mean?
bing. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's that to me is where I guess I try to anchor myself in my own feelings toward judging, because to me that's what matters. A judge, in all honesty, I've some pretty strong feelings about judging. A judge's role is to do nothing but service the community, and that's it. It's you're there for nothing else. Yes, you've got to make some hard decisions, but in the end, the intention has to be um,
Thank you for
based
the
around
raid, Kiki
supporting the event.
Miniatures Mania, you superstar. Welcome everyone. Andy and I are talking about the Guilds Inn painting event that happened in Australia. So join us. We're going to talk about that. It's going to be wonderful.
Questions coming. It looks like I could probably be fielding a few questions tonight
let's-
about judging, Trent. I'm happy to. As long as
let's
you're
go
happy
back.
for me to
Let's go back to judging before we continue.
Yeah.
I like your perspective on judging. It is a community service, I do think that that territory comes with the unfortunate reality of having to upset some people. How did you handle that? Because
Upsetting people.
you are a person who is very much about building people up, and
Yeah.
one of your great expressions is one hand up, one hand down. Um,
Yeah.
and in a way, when you are providing someone with feedback, you are of course helping them up and helping them improve. But it is
Mhm.
hard when that feedback comes in a very impersonal way of you judging them and saying you are not good enough.
Yeah. Um,
And without making too fine a point on it, that is exactly what it is. You are saying not good
yes.
enough, you human
Yeah.
being, and that's hard.
Yeah. I mean, that's the initial. That's the first thing. That's the very first thing anyone will take out of it. But the first feeling we have is not always the best feeling for us. And we've all experienced not achieving a result that we want to, right? Like all of us have. We're for the most part right now, we don't really have kids who are coming to these events, which is like a first time sort of thing for them, that sort of thing. So as adults, I like to think that everyone in the room has probably taken some L's before in their life and their journey. So I hope that through reflection, you realize that it's not that you're not good enough. It's just that you're at a point in your journey that you need to keep pushing and challenging yourself to grow. And some people are going to really respond to that, and they're going to find new and innovative ways to improve their skill, their art, their hobby, and some are going to choose not to, and both is okay. In the end, as I've said, what I love is that you've had me on this stream after winning awards, you've had me on this stream after not winning awards, and you've now had me on the stream um, with judging in mind as well. And so we've all experienced like coming up a bit short of the goals that we set for ourselves. It happens everywhere. It's about how you choose to approach that from there on out and what you do with it.
Captain Weather, that's a great observation. And unfortunately, with the way that most modern events are structured, it isn't often easy to get that feedback that actually helps you know where to go better. But one of the things Guilds Inn did do this year is actually sit the judges down after the event and provide an opportunity for everyone to ask those questions and get that valuable feedback. And having that a little bit more formalized, a little bit more accessible, I thought was a really good idea.
So I'll ask you a question
Hmm.
based on this one then. You've obviously had a role. I think it's probably pretty obvious at this point that you've had a role in sort of. You act as I guess in a way a mentor in this sort of space for me at times, and for not just for me, for many of us, right? Because you have a lot of experience in this, and so often you will be present if I'm doing something for the first time to both, I think, watch what I do, watch how I do things. You're there to basically give me the same. You're judging me, judging people, right? You know what I mean? Or judging entries and feedback. So you were able to sit, well, you chose to sit and listen to me provide a lot of feedback.
Observant of you, Andrew.
Yes. So why don't you talk about what that looks like? And if it's useful or where I could get better, because I'm not perfect at this, and I'm never going to be. And one hand up, one hand down means that my hand is up right now. I'm asking you what you think I could do better.
Well, look, feedback is important to land on a level that the person is actually able to understand, and I feel like you did that really, really well. Particularly, the observations that I made, you were landing those discussions at the right, level of this is where this person is at, and I need to do it. Where I think you sometimes go wrong, and this is obviously my perspective, not necessarily accurate, is I do think you get into feelings a little bit more than is necessary sometimes.
I think that's fair assessment. Very fair assessment.
Because often your feelings about things are absolutely valid and absolutely come from the right place. But sometimes what we need is actually that technically, X, Y, Z, this is your next steps, here's what you need to do. And probably the feedback for me would be the opposite, right? Sometimes I need to
Yeah.
talk about feelings more and why we do things and what
Mm.
really matters.
Mhm.
But yeah, I thought you landed that really well in the ones that I watched. You were really at the right level for the feedback and hitting those points for people really, really well. So, yeah, good job.
Yeah, I find it challenging at times to just look at someone's work and say that has to be better, this has to be better, that has to be better, and that's probably a growing point for me that I probably need to be a bit more bold, a bit more confident with that. And that's definitely some feedback that I appreciate and take on board, and hopefully we'll be able to implement a little bit more come the next event.
Well, yeah, I've written down a lot of notes for stuff to improve, and one of the things that I really loved was a concrete time for judges to sit down and like a concrete place
Hmm.
for people to come and ask that feedback and feel like that they're welcome to do so and open to do so, because it can feel daunting going up to someone who's probably someone you idolize and say, hey, can you tell me how I could be better? So yeah, having a avenue for that to be more accessible for
Yeah.
people important.
Absolutely, absolutely. And a big part of feedback is also just like it's so fun when someone comes up to you and you can tell this is an incredibly stressful thing to walk up to someone and be like, "Hey, can you tell me what I'm not good at?"
Yeah,
So often where I like to start is just like thanking you for being a part of what we're doing and thanking you for your contribution and your efforts and highlighting some of the things that I felt that you really did well. And then often if you do get feedback from me, I'm probably going to ask you what you think you did well and
oh,
what you didn't think you did well.
fucking love
Because
it.
more often than not, you really know, and you're just asking someone who's a little bit further up the mountain than you, or not. Sometimes it's someone who's lesser down the mountain or at the same level. You're asking them questions to confirm what you already know within
Mm,
yourself.
mm.
Now, what we do with that after that is usually go, well, then, okay, I've confirmed what I thought. How do I get better? The answer to that, honestly, is the question is the phrase that people hate and love to hate, and it's just you just have to paint more and paint more with intention. That there is an absolute abundance of free information available for you in this space to find the answers um, to technical growth or to stylistic growth, or some of the other more aggressive and interesting concepts in miniature painting. One thing that I want to say right now is that because we are aware of our different contributors in this space, this is why right now we're sort of thinking about in Australia how we can establish things, whether they be jam sessions or classes or step by steps, um, to help facilitate this. Because, in all honesty, getting 10 minutes of someone, who's just probably worked 20 hours of the last, or 25 hours of the last 2 days, you're not getting them at their best. So that's the other thing that you've got to understand. They're pretty exhausted. As much as we're talking about the feelings and the pace of entrance, the people on the other side of it providing the feedback also are feeling the same way. So it is a two-way street. So highlighting that we want to allocate a time space at Crimson Brush for judge feedback, I think is an excellent improvement to our event. And I also think that then it also creates a really like solid framework in the judge's mind that like, hey, you're gonna have to temper yourself over the day. You're gonna have to like make space for this because you will be sitting down for a few hours with people potentially talking to them about how they can grow their their
Just
love for this
just
thing
for
we
the
do.
timeline, I've figured out the timeline in my head. Masters
Excellent.
judging Sunday night,
Yeah.
table following morning after everyone's had a rest and they can talk back in the morning.
Yeah.
Standard judging Saturday night.
Okay. So how
Everyone
long can
sits
people
down.
get so standard people have to have their entries in by Saturday, and then
Indeed.
masters have to. Okay, cool.
Indeed. Yep.
Yeah.
So
All right.
it's going to work. It's going to be great. I think we can obviously make the observation that you did enjoy it. You had a great time. For
Yeah,
Simon's
I just
question
want to.
there.
I just want to touch that one on. Did you have a good time or not? Yeah, overall yes, but ultimately, like it's actually just really about managing ups and downs, man. You know, there are ups and downs that come with judging, and a big part of that is managing that. And we'll all get better at it. I'll definitely get better at it. So yeah,
And probably it's important to stress as well, in case you didn't realise, it's fucking hard work.
it is. It is.
It's exhausting. Let's talk results. So standard category, the winner, and we won't stretch on it too much because unfortunately I didn't probably pay as much attention to standard as you did. It was a really cool Space Marine. The dude who won it was absolutely chuffed.
Yeah. Let's look. I would like to spend some time in standard because there's actually people who are here with us who have taken the time out of their day to come and check out and hang out and probably entered that space. So as long as you are okay, you know, I'm here to
Please.
field any questions about
Pontificate.
standard. I'm really, hey Hixie, how are you, mate? I'm really passionate about the standard category. It's the lifeblood of these events, and it's the place that requires, in all honesty, it's probably the place that requires some of the most feedback, particularly feedback that's surrounding journey-based stuff, confidence, and a sense of belonging, and figuring out where you fit in your journey, and then in the broader community. So if people have questions about standard, then I'm please encourage you to chuck them in. The standard gang rise up. This is a hashtag that's floating around, I think, at the moment. Trent is standard gang rise up, and I'm sure you know who is the
Instigator.
perpetrator for this, the instigator for this. So like standard, well, there was a direct and increased improvement in the painting aspect of standard at Guilds Inn, when we compare back to Crimson Brush. However, there was distinctly less entries in standard than there was at Crimson Brush. And that comes for a couple of things. I think the first thing is to know about the Guilds Inn means you've probably already started your journey in this type of painting. And secondly, that Crimson Brush itself is attached to the CanCon event, which means that we gain access to a much broader audience of people who are involved in miniature painting. And for the record, in that instance, that's really important to always keep in mind. It's very easy for us to become very fixated on what we do in miniature painting, but miniature painting is a lot broader than just us. And so at Crimson Brush, this gives an excellent opportunity for people who are board gaming, playing war games, role playing, to try their hand. You know, put something in that they might be proud of, and see how they go. And one thing we learned at Crimson Brush is that a lot of people don't know how good they are at something, particularly when we talk about the overall standard of miniature painting, right? Like there was some awesome stuff that came up from the gaming halls that sort of fit right in that category. So that was cool then. What's cool now is for the people that have already found this type of painting, we saw an increased level of painting. And that is fantastic to see. That shows that whatever's here and happening in Australia to do it to a degree is working. What I'm really proud of with standard is that it's now a respected and valued milestone in someone's journey. And that was an intention of mine when I first suggested the idea that maybe we could have standard. And I know that's something that you, for Crimson's sake, when that was something that you really pondered, and came back and said that you felt that it was incredibly valuable too. So Guilds Inn runs with it and increases the skill level by just having it, just supporting it, and it being there. And that's a massive overall win.
Let me just talk very, very briefly about my reticence towards bringing standard in, and this is right in the way, but it's stopping. It's not, my painting's not in the way, so that's more important. I've been very, very vocal about not wanting to divide the community, right? arbitrarily creating a division, a line that says one part of the community is good and one part of the community is not as good. Now, the reality is that that is absolutely fucking true. But we don't want people to feel like they're less or they're not part of or they're not included, right? And so where we were at 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I didn't feel like we benefited
We weren't.
from
We,
having
we
it.
wouldn't
right?
have. We wouldn't have. We made the right call 2 or 3 years ago. Absolutely.
So when we incorporated it, you know, the language that we used, the way that we communicated about standard, and I'm almost ready to make it a statement now and say that we're going to change the word standard to social, even though, you know, we'll discuss that, of course, but, you know, because I don't want people to feel like it is a category that is not as good, right? It is a category for people that are in a different place in their painting journey. And as you said on the weekend, it could even be someone who has entered in Masters in the past, but hasn't been able to paint for a few years, or lost confidence, or, you know, just wants to be involved. It doesn't really want to have to bring their best, you know?
Or how about life just got in the way?
Yeah.
You know, like,
So
how about that one?
So changing the lens, again, even further away from
Yeah.
good and not as good to here for fun and here for, you know, a bit of competition versus really intently serious on, you know, progressing and competing. Like, because that's what it is for me. It's people that are super serious and want to improve and want that really, you know, the fire of the forge to make them into the best version of themselves, versus the people that are this just, you know, want to be involved, want to have a crack, but maybe are, you know, not there when it comes to confidence or not there when it comes to skill or whatever. So anyway, I think the time is right for standard, and I think we've absolutely introduced it in the right way and at the right time. Well, just to respond to those two, Captain Weather and Time Stop,
Yeah.
we don't want to just force people into the gaming category. You know, like, we don't want people to feel like they can't enter whatever they want. And then Journeyman, although it is absolutely one we tossed up, it also has a slightly different connotation for sports people like Bucks and I. We both, when we hear a journeyman, we think of someone who's been around for a long time, played at a lot of clubs, you know, pretty much been there and done that. So for us, journeyman doesn't quite hit that mark.
Yeah, I mean, it's in the journeyman. It's a sojourner, right? Like, you've been about, you've done stuff. But no, something that you touched on there, and I actually think this is probably, like, put a pin in this one, like write a note somewhere, or I'll write a note somewhere. I'd actually love us to come on and do a stream talking about what a painting season looks like for painters, and understanding how form works, and understanding that you probably can't operate at your best form for the entire existence of your painting journey. And even the expectation of that is utterly absurd. There isn't a person who has done that in any endeavor ever, right?
We should talk about how your lens has changed since ARC, but that's not a topic for tonight.
No, it'll be another one. So, back to standard judging. It's probably about time we talked about some of the entrants and entries, or, well, we'll talk about the entries, and if entrants come up, that's fine. There was some awesome stuff in there. There was some stuff that was definitely breaking through concepts. What's really interesting in standard that you watch is two things happen. You start to identify people who are trying to learn concepts in painting, and then you get people who are really good at painting but are only operating in the lane they feel most comfortable in. And distinguishing a difference between the two is actually pretty easy in standard. It's much harder to do in Masters, as the overall painting is increased in that space. What have we got here? Captain Weather saying, I will say whatever it's called, having attended both guilds I think the inclusion of standard as someone who is in # standard gang rise up was a huge positive. Awesome. That's fantastic.
Yeah, standard's here to stay right now. Like, we're at the point now where it is absolutely adding the value that we want it to add to our community, and it's absolutely going to be a part of most of our events. Not necessarily all, because we want to have variety and variation, but we want it. To be around.
So These are all great questions, Standing Gang. You're all very eager and very interested to know these things. It's not my place for me to speak on behalf of the three judges without the three judges being present on who is what. It's a jury-based judging system, and as a jury-based judging system, I'd like it to be a jury-based in that. That said, I'm not going to do it here. If you do want to ask me what I think about where you are in that space, feel free to message me privately. Um, but I will say that is, yeah, overall, that is uh, a thing that I've noticed, that I've observed in standard. Something that we always see in standard. It's an ever-present thing I've seen so far in standard that we've had here. Is we do see more miniatures that are in the I've come from wargaming. I think this is pretty good wargaming painting, and I want to see where it fits in a painting competition. And I think in this instance, for this event, our best best of standard was an excellent example of that. It was obviously, I think the photos are around. If anyone wants to link it, feel free to. Maybe we can even bring it up on the stream.
We could, maybe. We'll see.
We'll see how you feel.
I'm painting at the moment, mate. So.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. It's a lovely Lionel Johnson. If we could please do me a favor, this is where we need to all help each other. If you could link the Instagram of the particular painter and artist who did it, that would be awesome. Let's get some eyes there. If you're not following them, please do. It was a beautiful piece. It was an excellently executed Lionel Johnson.
Craig Zog for the win.
There we go. Thanks, Craig. Look, there he is. He's the mod. He's number one Oz mod right now.
Is he a mod in my channel? We got to make him a mod.
You can make him a mod in here. I think you got to give him mod status. He's a mod. He mods the Dirty Paintwater Society.
I was gonna ban him before, but no, that's fine. We will make him a mod. How can I do that here?
Get modded, Cragzog.
How do I do that? No, I don't want to do that. Oh, I've got to figure out how to do it. I'm fucking shit.
Yeah, it's all right. It doesn't have to be done now.
I'm doing it. It was a...
So, your thoughts on it? Yeah, your thoughts. Yeah, go.
There was a few standouts for me in standard. And roles manager. Here we go. Yes, add new Cragzog. Studios.
Look at him. He's blushing. He's blushing.
Is he Cragzog Studios or is he just Cragzog? Cragzog Studios. Okay. It's happening, Cragzog. It's happening.
I think is Seb a mod as well here? Mini Mansion? He is, isn't he?
Yes, Mini Mansion.
So that look at them. He's also a mod of Dirty Paintwater Society.
Anyway, look, I love standard. I didn't get as much time to look at it as I would have liked. I know Sean, who participates in the stream a lot, got a bronze, which was fantastic. Cragzog,
Hixie, who's a fellow streamer.
Yeah, Hixie also got a bronze. Cragzog got a gold for his fantastic piece. Well done. I don't know what the name of it was, but that was one that immediately jumped out to me and actually highlighted, one of the strengths of the display approach to entering figures. And we might talk about that now, actually. So Cragzog had 4 pieces that he entered. One that he'd done recently, which to me really indicated a level up, a strong improvement. And then 3 that were nowhere near as strong. Now, the way that the display works is if you've got one piece that is, leaps and bounds ahead, we're going to give you a award for your best piece. However, that award may say you have one piece in here that's gold, but the rest of your stuff may be bronze or not even medal worthy. So we're going to give you a gold. Now, it's up.
Can I just build on this just for one thing, because there's a bit of clarity around this that does need to come out. in some cases, if you have two pieces that are sitting really equally, we actually sometimes don't even choose which one we're going to give it to. It's just that you have met the standard of gold, and so you've been given a gold.
Yeah.
It doesn't, when you think about it, I know we want to be like, which one was it, right? But more often than not, it can be that just both are at that level to a degree. We just don't give out multiple awards. So
Yeah.
sometimes it can be that the painting across both of them in different ways achieve different things, right? So I just wanted to add that in there to help
Yeah.
sort of help this mindset change.
We do also need to have the lens of a bronze for your display is probably more highly regarded than an individual gold, or certainly I would feel it's more highly regarded, because you've demonstrated that skill across the entire collection versus just one, and I think that's maybe that's slightly askew. Maybe it would be a silver better than a silver, or and vice versa, but it's certainly an achievement that needs to be acknowledged. Is getting a display award versus an individual award.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. Sorry, I was just reading some.
I know you were, mate. You struggle to read and do something at the same time.
I really do when I've probably only slept realistically like 20 hours in 5 days.
Yeah,
So, uh, yeah. So, was there any more questions about standard or anything that the people here wanted to highlight? Was there anything that you wanted to highlight? All in all, I think it was a great result. I really appreciate. What I really appreciate from a judging perspective is the openness of people that were in standard to listen and be advised in their feedback and really take it on board. That's an excellent way to grow and get better in this.
I just think we've done a really good job, and we collaboratively, the community, individuals in the community have done a really good job of not stigmatizing standard and saying, hey, standard's worse. I think we've done a fantastic job of saying, fuck, we love standard. We want everyone to be involved, and I'm a big fan of it. I'm glad we've got it. I think it's such a great stepping stone and pathway for everyone. So
this is an interesting question that comes up. Did standard pull out some more creative things, or well spread between both categories? I don't know that I can really have a comment on that, as I mean, my personal opinion of what the word creative is it's pretty broad and really up to the eye of the beholder if something's really creative or not really creative. I don't know.
Let's not answer that because
Yeah.
Bucks hates the creative as an award. He wants to ditch it from Crimson this year because he thinks it's too nebulous. Anyway, Masters.
How funny is that? The guy that does lots of nebulous shit thinks creativity is too nebulous and it's not there to be judged.
Masters.
Probably Masters. We move on to Masters. Yes, Masters. Where do we want to start?
Exceptional standard. I thought it was really very high. I'll go out on a limb and say I think it was the highest standard of miniature painting competition I've seen in Australia to date.
Yeah. I'd like to elaborate on that because what happens in competitions is that you just get pockets. You get pockets of skill, realistically, and expression. And what I found upon going through with my fellow judges is that you start to realize where clumps of people are at in their journey. And some people are going to be really, really far along. Others are going to be at the sort of entry, and then some are going to be at the middle. What I found at this event was that clearly by the way that the judging team gave out awards, that at the very sharpest point of Masters was quite narrow. But as we sort of filtered down, it opened up. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, you're not. It's not fucking rocket science what you just said, mate.
Yeah, I know, but it's just sometimes we everyone got better, and it's well, some people didn't, and some people did, and that's a part of it all. So, how was your experience entering this year?
you and I have had a few discussions over the last, I would say, a couple of years, where we've talked about, what our goals are, and how we feel about competition, and why we do this, the why, starting with why. And as you know, for a while, my painting has not been focused on delivering the best I can do. It's been delivering on my ultimate goal, which is relaxation, enjoyment, fun, and doing things that I get excited about. And so when it comes to an event like this, I'm not really putting stuff in there that I'm trying to compete with. In a way, I'm bringing the stuff that I'm excited about, that I've done, and doing my best to support the event. So with that said, I did paint something not specifically for it, but the timing of it was, I'm going to paint this. I'm going to try and get it done for the weekend. It wasn't for the event as such with my little Goblin Knight, but the timing was good. So that was nice. It was obviously, well, I say obviously, but I'm sure you'll disagree. It was obvious that I tried to put more of myself into it than I do with most of the things that I've done. So that felt nice. That felt fun. At the same time, I also got to bring my display and showcase, all the things that I try to do, the dioramas, the big ambitious things. So I enjoyed it. I was very pleased to get a silver for the little goblin. What we can talk specifically about my entry if you like. You can carve me up on here, or say whatever you want, and maybe you can give some insights into why it got a silver if you want. I'm sure.
I'm just going to just go back. I just want to clarify something with Alexi here in regards to the creative stuff. When I say I'm not a fan of a most creative award, that's specifically in regards to how we did most creative at Crimson Brush, where it was very wide. What I appreciate about the Guilds Inn and what they took from the Crimson Brush Award and learned is that it probably needs a little bit more clarity. And so choosing to have the most creative idea, I thought was a great step in the right direction. And I think that the piece that won it was an excellent example of that. In regards to yourself, we've obviously chatted privately about what I think about your entry. All I really want to say on your entry is you've actually already said everything you needed to, and you've been saying it over the last few weeks of painting it on the stream. I look forward to being able to go back and have a watch of those now. I tried to do my best to sort of give everyone space with their entries and not spend too much time looking at stuff. Obviously, the more we look at stuff, the more we find things that we like, the more we potentially find things that we don't like. So there can be a distinct advantage that comes from seeing someone's stuff a lot, or a really distinct disadvantage into seeing someone's stuff a lot. What I like about what you did for this entry is that you changed your mindset for it. You moved back a little bit, or you moved away from the painting that you had been doing, and were more intentful in your action to paint something for the event, which showed in your entries. In all honesty, I know that you challenged yourself. You weren't trying to use your airbrush as much, and you were really trying to step outside of comfort zones a little bit while maintaining what makes your work, and that's something to be appreciated. I can say that it certainly showed in the work, and that's why it was awarded what it was awarded. Yeah.
I appreciate you.
You appreciate me.
You also reach a point where there's no you don't worry about results.
Yeah.
I hope everyone gets to that point. I hope everyone gets to a point in their time when they don't worry about how they perform against others, and they know within themselves that they're enough.
Yeah.
I would have been happy with no award. I would have been happy. Hello, Scaraboss. I would have been happy with a bronze, a silver, a gold, commended. It was all just appreciated and great to be a part of.
That's definitely something that you've carried for the most part in every event I've attended with you. So, is that though what I want to ask you, is that something that you've always had?
Absolutely not.
Mm.
Absolutely not. Um, and I'd like to, reflect on that probably a little bit more at another time, because
Sure.
I think one of the things that has allowed me to achieve that is sustained success.
Yeah.
So not just in miniature painting, but in a lot of different fields, being successful at something um, is a wonderful thing. It feels
Yeah.
great, and after a while, it becomes less about that feeling of success and more about the self belief that has come from that. You don't worry about the results anymore because you just know that it actually doesn't matter, because you know you can do it. You know you're
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
So
It's where you place value, isn't it? You know what I mean? Some people will place like a lot of value on this, and most of the time, the people that'll be placing a lot of value on this is for just a few reasons. It'll either be that they've made it the thing they've chosen, the thing that is right now the most important to them, or it'll be a few others. The one that I think is the most positive is that it's the thing that has been chosen. So,
um, it was great. It was a wonderful Masters category, and I really enjoyed looking at the entries. Some real standouts for me. I thought Jordan's Medusa, Caravaggio, Athena
hmm
was one of the highlights of the event for me. I
hmm
know it received a bronze in the judging, but for me it was really inspiring to see that in the flesh, and what's look, I see that as an evolution in a way of miniature painting, but also kind of like a regression as well, like a regression
yeah.
of miniature painting
Mhm.
um, into what we used to do. And I just like what that showcases our hobby is capable of. I think he's going to be a absolutely world class miniature painter if he's not already in the future. So that was
Yeah, I
exciting to
mean
see.
he's got such a unique journey unto himself, you know what I mean? And that's what makes him such a great contributor to the community and to the overall scene. Is that he's approaching it from a very different perspective to a lot of people that come to miniature painting. And I think where he's at in that journey is he's figuring out how to make it all work, man. He's got all the pieces in his hand. He's just trying to click it all together, And he's got challenges that he faces with how he wants to do things, and working out if that aligns. But yeah, some of the stuff that Jordan showed was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I look forward to seeing what else he does. This is the thing that I hope people understand with judging is it's when you're a judge in miniature painting anyway, for the most part, it's not so much about just, hey, what do you think is cool or not, you know what I mean? Because if it's that, then you're probably going to have to remove me from being a judge, because most of the time I think everything's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? I think people who have been coming to the stream for a really long time understand that about me, but you have to change the speed in which you operate at. We have to find a way to to draw context out of it. So yeah.
Um,
I
I
actually
let,
I
let,
actually think, just quickly, I
yeah.
actually think that it's funny that you mention Jordan's work, because I think it's actually you have a bit of similarity in the way that you approach painting as well. So often we look for we see approaches, and it was something upon looking at the two styles that they seem to have in common a little bit. So
let me say something that I don't know if Jordan will ever hear this or not. It's probably not controversial, but for me, there's always when you hear a lot of talk about someone,
yeah,
and there's been a lot of talk about Jordan and he's the fucking next big thing and what have you and stuff. My immediate response to that is I'm gonna take that guy down a peg. Like I'm up,
yeah,
up tall poppy, whatever it is. And so when I saw his stuff, I was just like, nah, this guy's fucking a jet. I love it. I want to be more like it. I want to see more of it. I don't want to tear this guy down. I want to build this guy up. So,
Mhm,
which was,
mhm.
well done, me.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
um, yeah, there's a lot of standouts. I mean, we obviously haven't talked about the two gold winners in thingy with Dave and Tibbo, but I thought Kyle's entries showed a lot of really interesting story elements, which is probably his great strength, is his ability to tell a story. I thought Ray's display was just such a massive level up for him, and probably one of the coolest displays that was there. Alexi, who's in the chat, great pieces. Really enjoyed, seeing his work in the hand, and there was some great stuff. I mean, Derek's piece. What a great story on Derek's piece. It's just great to be able to see everyone's concepts and execution and the way that they approach things, and I appreciated it. I said at the start of the thing, which before you got on, that competitions like this will do one of two things for me. They'll make me want to take a breather and just relax, or they'll just fire me up to do some more painting, and it's definitely the latter after Guild's in. So
yeah. Alexi's demonstrating a lot of humility here in his own journey, and I appreciate that in a person a lot. But Alexi, the work that you've provided and put up in the last very, very brief period of time that you have been applying yourself in this way to painting is something to really be proud of.
There's also a question from Captain Weather we need to get to as well. So
okay,
I apologize, I didn't miss that. But yeah, keep going.
Yeah. We all move at different speeds in our journey, and it's not so much about how fast you go that makes it cool. It's about how much dedication you commit to, and this is something that we've always highlighted on the stream. When you put the work in, you get the results, and it's evident in what you're doing with your painting right now, that and your passion and commitment to your craft and to your journey, that the results are there. So I think it's an absolute exemplary performance in what it takes to really push yourself in this space and to really apply yourself. And
hey, DC, hello, mate.
There he is.
Hello, Bunny.
Hey, Bun. I definitely suggested to Dave when on the car ride home that I was going to maybe get you to stream tonight, Trent. And he was like, "I'm going to come along."
I was intending on it. I just
were ya?
Yeah. It was
awesome.
It was a long ride home and stuff.
I thought I might exactly it. I thought I might have been pestering you when I messaged you and said, "Let's do a stream tonight."
No, you're all
like, I've had enough of you, mate. Go away, leave me alone.
No, actually, I had the opposite experience. I probably felt like I didn't get enough time with you wonderful people, but that's a discussion for another time. So, Captain Weather's question was, how do you take with Flu, mate? How do you take what is essentially figure painting from just gaming models and elevate that whilst staying at the same scale, without increasing scale? So
like doing stuff, like I like miniatures, so
I'm a gaming painter, from a wargaming background. How do I elevate my style without necessarily diving into busts, or how do I take the next step?
So it's not so much. It's not about stylistically changing, in my opinion, because style is your choice. That's how you choose to speak with you. So some people stay in let's use an heavy metal style. That's a really simple one that is probably most familiar with. You can paint that style. You don't have to change that to paint that really, really good. You just have to lean into it as far as you possibly can. You have to just do it at an exceptional level. If you are much more into volumetric styles of painting, then, you go that route. It really just doesn't change. You don't have to change your scale. You don't have to change your model choices. Some of the greatest miniature art that's ever been painted is just a wargaming model for the most part. Maybe there's some conversions, or maybe not. Sometimes it's a very simple, I took a model I really liked and painted it really well.
Would you use the word intent, Andy? Would you use the word intent?
You would, but I'm pretty sure if I use that word one more time, I'm going to get absolutely black vanned and disappeared. So I'm not going to torture our community with that word anymore.
Shame.
Yeah, Neil Hollis' Lazarus is a good example. Yeah. That's
Well,
it. You know,
another example.
wonderful.
Another example is Dave's fucking Space Marine collection.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Or actually, I would like to say another example at like because let's shine some light in other places in our miniature painting scene. What about Maddie's Minis? I think it is Mac,
Oh,
Mac,
yeah.
who entered two
Two absolute
extremely
guns.
well presented Warhammer 40,000 figures that just were beautiful to look at, you know,
Yeah.
and they were unapologetically themselves. That's actually what I would say in all honesty.
Yeah.
Whatever it is you choose to do,
Just be
do
you.
what you do, just be you. I mean, when it comes to competition, you know, that can be you can look a little bit too far into that and be like, well, I just did me and it's the best version of me, so I should I do well for that? In the end, there's still an element of you're in a field of painted miniatures, so there is going to be stuff that potentially could be better than yours, and there's going to be stuff that potentially could not be better than yours.
I'll be slightly critical. I think being unapologetically you is advice that's very hard for some people to actually run
Yes.
with.
Yeah. Let's refrain. Unapologetically use like when you're talking about the style that you're doing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
if you're painting heavy metal, like then you've got to do it well. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if
Balls
you're
deep.
doing
Balls deep.
yeah, full steep.
Throw your whole fucking body into it.
Yeah, throw your whole
Put your full pussy into it, as Bunny
yeah,
says.
as Bunny says, whichever one it wants to be. There you go. Dave's doing some links in the
Good
chat
work,
there.
Dave. Hey,
Oh,
while you're at it,
yeah.
Dave, why don't you post a picture of your fucking best of show winning piece, you clown?
Yeah. So something before we get to the tippity top, one thing I absolutely noticed across Masters was that the standard at bronze level and silver level, particularly, was a massive like move ahead, in my opinion. Um, okay, what we're doing here in Australia is different to what others are doing around the world. We are building this as we go. So
Building the
I
plane
think
as we're flying, I like to say.
building the plane as we're flying, and as such, every event the standard has to be progressed one step at a time forward. You know what I mean? Like it has to be pushed by the judges, and it also has to be pushed by the entrants. Um, how we do that, that's what defines us. And what I noticed, as I said it again there, but what I noticed is that in bronze and silver, the standard really, really went up. I also want to emphasize that to win an award for a display is actually really hard to do. And as such, like, really, really want to put out there that if that's something you're shooting for, then go hard, you know.
Yeah, why
I
didn't
mean,
I
we
win?
gave
Why
out
didn't
we,
I win one for mine? What a stitch up!
um
My fucking display was
because
awesome.
we deemed that it wasn't to be for you. You know,
Yeah.
that's simple. I mean, we literally gave out four. I think we gave out four display awards total for the whole event. Right?
No, that
In
was
Masters.
four in Masters and
In
I think
Masters. We're talking about Masters.
three.
now,
Yeah,
right?
okay,
Three.
just Masters.
We gave seven out across the whole event, but in Masters we gave four out. There was
Two
two in
golds, one
gold,
silver,
one in
and one
silver, and one
bronze.
in bronze. Like that's a very, very, very slim field to
It is.
win an award in. So I hope the people that did win awards in that feel really, really good about what they did, because that's
And off the top of my
going
head, it was Kyle bronze, Matt Max silver, Dave and Tibbo
Yeah.
gold was the
Yep.
displays. Yeah.
Yeah. And each one of them did something different. You know what I mean? To a degree, that's what you're looking for. So, um, four in Masters, six in Standard. Yeah.
A 6-inch. Yeah.
There you go. I love to see that. You love your silver. It meant you improved, and that's what you wanted to show. That's what it's about, you know. How did you? Was there anything else that we wanted to cover across like the basic, you know, I won't say basic. That's like the standard metal practice that happens at an event. You know, I thought there was some fantastic golds and fantastic silvers.
No, I loved it, mate. It was a great event. I liked it. I will say this, and I think I said it to you on the day. I said it to Jared. Judging is a very difficult job. and
Mm-hmm.
not everyone's going to agree with judging, right? That's part and parcel.
Yeah, of course. If they did,
Yeah,
that would be a bit strange.
but I
Yeah.
really felt like the judging was excellent. I really felt like it both rewarded people
Mm-hmm.
for the work that they did, but also, just gave them that little bit of, here's some encouragement for you to do better. I really felt like that walked a really fine line between those two things in an exceptional way. And, when I looked across the judging, there was not really anything that I stood out and said, "Wow, that shocked me." That shocked
Yeah.
me. So yeah, good outcome. Good judging. Great time. Let's talk about best in show because it was fucking awesome.
Well, let's talk about 3 entries, and let's start with the first one that you brought up, which was the creative award, the creative's idea award. Which, if anyone can please link that, if there's a post for it, which was Ray's.
I thought you
Ray,
hated most creative, mate.
I said nothing of the sort,
You
mate,
did.
and
You
that's
did.
the award. You're funny. You're really looking to push this angle, aren't you? Uh, must
Uh,
be must be a perception of me or something. Watermelon hat. Yeah. I mean, what did everyone think about it? What did you think about it?
can we change? Can we change the name? Can we start calling him the Vegan Goblin? Because that's what I was
Vegan
call, That
goblin.
was what I was calling him to Mossy, and she loved it.
Yeah. Fruit god.
Yeah.
Yeah. What'd you think?
I thought it was great. Yeah, it jumped out at me. But I actually thought Ray's whole display just showed a massive level up.
Yeah.
Just from Crimson to now, I thought it was
Hmm.
just a huge jump up. The little chick holding the shield and the dragon head on the ground, or whatever the fuck head it was, that was
Yeah.
exceptional. Watermelon hat guy was great. He had 2 other pieces that were all just felt like he'd gone up
So
another level.
that's a really good touch point there. Like how I agree in that regard, but it's funny, isn't it, when something excels itself even further along? Like one thing excelled itself more than the whole display, even though the whole level of painting had risen. That's an interesting part of the way that judging falls in this sort of format.
Yeah, well, that was idea. Sometimes an idea
Yeah,
just stands out, and you're like, well, that needs to be rewarded, and I think that was
yeah,
clearly the case for this one.
yeah. Now, did we answer the question that you needed to go back for?
What was that from? Yeah, I think so. That was about how do you get better as a standard painter
Yeah,
with gaming pieces.
sure, sure. DC, the Watermelon Goblin, just makes me feel happy. It's just brilliant and
Mm.
it's in its intent. I think that's an overall impact that the Watermelon Goblin had on just about anyone that I overheard talking about it after judging, uh, or even before. I try not to get too deep in the source before judging's done with the gathering of people. Um, just let people enjoy it. As a judge, you're going to get to really absorb things at a later point. So. Um,
So yeah, great piece by Ray. The Platinum Award, I assume, the technical brilliance. Tibbo.
yeah. So someone asked what I think Jimmy asked what the Platinum Award actually was. Yeah, the Platinum Award was exactly what Trent just said. So,
Technical
and
excellence.
technical excellence and the Banshee. I mean, when you have that in your hand closely and you're really observing it excels in this space. It's done things for me personally that I have not seen either done to the level it was done or actually haven't seen done in that way before. And as such, I personally felt it was incredibly strong showing for Tibu Fatal. It was a beautiful model, and it rightly deserved to win that award.
And he's a beautiful man too.
Yeah, he really is. He's obviously incredibly passionate about painting and is touring the country right now, sharing that with as many people as he can. So I think he arrives down here in Melbourne on Wednesday. I'm hoping to be able to spend a bit of time with him and DC when he arrives and really get to chat to him. Something I've actually found overall before we go into the long awaited and last award is for us who are participating on more of an organizational front, the time spent together at at events in the event is becoming less and less and less. I think you and I probably got a total of an hour, maybe two together the entire time, right?
Yeah.
Like of solid time to spend together.
Yeah.
So,
As I said, wasn't enough for me. I felt
yeah.
shortchanged.
Yep. I also felt that way, and so we're gonna have to work around that. And particularly for when international guests come, I feel I barely get to speak to them when I'm at the event. It was the same with Natalia. It was the same with Will, and it's been the same with Tibu as well. So it's like I'm glad that they come down into Victoria and have an opportunity to try and catch up with them and spend some time. So, yeah, excellent job. It was an awesome model. It's a model that's obviously toured around a bit. It's not a model that people haven't seen before, but it was an absolute treat to be able to see it in the flesh and say that that's something that I have done in my painting journey, and I hope everyone else feels like that too. Obviously, finally, we come to the long-awaited Best in Show discussion. I'm going to let you take the stage, sir.
Oh, look, I mean, you're the person who judged it, but I can certainly speak to it. Dave obviously went hard. He went hard. He was going for it, and I love it when he does that. I especially love it when he keeps shit secret, and I especially love it when he keeps shit secret from you. I just reckon that's when you know Dave's got his game face on. He's absolutely deep.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just an elevation again of Dave's work, an elevation of miniature art in Australia, an in-hand representation of what time and effort and dedication and skill can achieve.
It's also a dedication to consistently upholding yourself to a standard, not only in the execution of painting, but the execution of like challenging yourself to do new and different things. I think that this, although reflections might not be considered a new method in painting, I think that's a very fair statement. It's not. It's about the way that Dave chose to approach it. Now, this is a great example of, when you're in a juried system, it's not going to be about what you just like the most, right? Like it's not. We're looking at every possible angle. And for me, the conversation I've had with Dave about it is that some of his other works there individually probably spoke and appealed to me a little bit more. But what this one did was pretty undeniable in its approach. And it certainly made us think and take time to consume it and try to understand it. The best way that I first sort of put it to Dave after judging, because I actually didn't look at it once before judging. I actually left it to just be, everyone else.
A little treat, a little
a
treat
little-
for you.
Well, yeah, and also to like sometimes things can grab people's attention and push hype, and that's a really great thing. But it's important to try and consume everything that's there. Um, I asked Dave a question, and I think it's a question he'll probably think on a lot. Is just because we can do something, should we do it, right? Which is very interesting when we talk about the level of complexity that was placed in this work. This work has an uncanny element to it. It's almost uncomfortable when you look at it the first time. And that's a very interesting feeling to feel in this space. I can't wait to see what it looks like when Dave learns in a way to break this method that he's applying. I think it's a little bit untamed at the moment. It'd be interesting to see what he does with it as he goes forth, or even if he wants to go forth with it. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's pretty crazy. Something that I do want to talk about for that piece is that there's a lot more happening than just the technical. Particularly if you know the subject matter pretty well, there is some stuff involved in that piece that just really tells a story.
Because he's a high elf, isn't he? And he's a sword master of
Well-
Hoeth, and he's actually on Hoeth. Is that right? or have I
Yeah,
gone off
yeah.
tap?
It's in Hoeth. It's under the White Tower of
Yeah,
of Hoeth, where the Swordmasters train, and it's all
yeah,
there
that's some
in
good
the
shit
armor.
right there.
You know, like that's some really deep level storytelling, and that's like the level of intent there is excellent. And one thing we should say to people is that a lot of people will kind of shoot for that level of storytelling in their work, and sometimes it can fall short in you actually knowing what's going on. And for me, like it took me even a while to really realize what this was when I was looking at it. I was like, hang on a minute, this is like that's a tower right there. And then I'm sort of thinking about it, and I'm like, I couldn't quite put it all together. I'm like, this is definitely like I can see the whole environment, I can see the space, I can see everything that's going on. I know where this is. This all fits. And there was just this one like little bit, and it was like realizing it was the White Tower. You know what I mean? And you were just like, wow, that's pretty
See,
crazy.
when you realise that, that's the only thing I can say is fuck you, Dave. You know, that's the
Yeah,
only thing I can say because it's just like I can't even comprehend that.
yeah.
I can't.
So, do you think we could bring it up, Trent? Is that okay?
Yeah, you can
I
bring
know
it
you're
up.
painting.
You
I
can bring it
can't bring
up.
it up. I can't look it up on your screen.
All right, I'll bring it up. G'day, Dial Art. Let me bring up Dave's piece while I'm
It's
painting this
just on
fucking.
his Instagram.
I
So.
know where it is, mate. I'm just painting. Just let me fucking paint. Let the man cook, mate.
Letting hearing you say that is just. I love when you say things that definitely do not come from your age bracket. It makes me love you even more. You
Uh,
absolute goof. And your stupid laugher.
uh, just relax, son.
Yeah, you.
All right, here we go. DC, the man.
Hey, this is the kind of what I love about something that's done is yeah, the DC's ripping you now too. um,
Oh, it's good
what
stuff.
Alexi said here, this is what I love. This is the thing I love most about this. I might need to revisit my AOS Lumineth at least to scratch some elfish. Like that's what it's all about. Like when it makes you want to go away and like interact with high elves, that's a pretty awesome thing. So there it is in all its glory.
In full Technicolor.
Yeah. So one of my favorite elements of this, an easy one to jump to, is obviously the sun setting. I mean, like behind the White Tower in the armor with the horizon line and then the shadow that it casts and then the reflection on the shadow on the grass from the warmth of the sun while there's trees shifting off into the background or you know but the easy one, that's an easy one, the reflection of the helmet. And that's where a full bounce reflection occurs, where the helmet is bouncing back into the helmet into the armor into the helmet, and then back again. But for me, it's all around the van brace, um, on the left side, right side of her holding the sword. Just all the reflections on there. This angle doesn't quite highlight it as much as some that I think he's taken,
Oh, let
but
me
that
skip across for
level
you.
of complexion in that tight little area combined with the sword itself, you know, there you go. Go back. Yeah, go back. Yeah. Go wherever you want, really. Like,
Thanks, mate.
please feel free to just walk over and absorb everything. Yeah. I mean, this is not something, this type of reflection is not something I've personally seen before. So I think it does emphasize taking a great creative risk in that space.
That's a great angle of the seeing the helmet reflected
Yeah.
in the helmet, which is bouncing off the other bit. So we're getting
Yeah.
a helmet reflection reflecting the helmet.
Yeah.
I love it. It's Dave just being Dave.
Yeah.
Just Dave
So
things.
yeah, it was a beautiful piece. And
A worthy best in show for start. How many
a
comments
very,
has he got, by
yeah,
the way? I'm sure he's got like
I
fucking
don't know.
bajillion comments.
Yeah, I think I'm worthy best in show, and you know, I hope people see why we chose to award that prestigious award. Um, there's an overall. intent in regards to this as well is that elves themselves, particularly in the Warhammer space, are kind of a little bit uncanny, right? They kind of, when you look at an elf, you're not supposed to really
Yeah, it's
feel it.
ethereal. It's ethereal.
Ethereal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that it like that's transcended the piece as well, right? So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I look. We pontificate about Dave a fair bit on here, and he's here now, so
Yeah.
we won't do it too much more. But it makes me really proud to be an Australian and have one of the painters that is doing work of that level be from my country. Like, I think it just makes me so proud, and to have been a small part of that journey in whatever way I have makes me feel proud, and yeah, excited to see what the great man.
Yeah, I
comes
think
up
you
with
and
next.
DC have a very unique relationship in the miniature painting scene because you've been together pretty much since the start, and your journeys have taken you in different directions, but you've always cheered for each other. You've always been there for each other, and you've always supported each other along the way in whichever path that you've gone in. And it's something that I have learned from a lot, and something that I want to emulate in who I am in the painting scene as well. So yeah, it's awesome to see. Uh, Super cool stuff,
Super cool stuff.
and an incredibly worthy choice for the best in show.
For the best in show, indeed, that is. It was. I mean, it was a clear. There's a clear winner for me. The moment the model got dropped on the table. Yeah, as Mephisto's just said, Thibaut did a version of this as well, which is also
Gorgeous. Like, if you like on instant first appeal alone, and I'm comfortable to say this because I've had this discussion in feedback with Dave. Thibaut's piece was gorgeous. Like, it was it was exactly how I would picture a high elf swordmaster bust to be.
Yeah.
The difference between the two is that the other was not how I would picture it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it challenged the way we thought about things. So
Yeah, I thought Thibaut's version was absolutely stunning, and again, we haven't talked about probably him enough, but getting to see his work in the flesh, really got to sit down and absorb it. Exciting to see.
Has he posted any of it yet? I'm not sure.
I think he posted. I think he posted the Swordmaster just today.
Okay. Excellent. Do we want to bring that up as well?
I should bring that up. Yeah. All right, come on.
Let's really celebrate that work too.
I'm just trying to paint my fucking toys, man.
I know.
Just let me paint my toys.
I know.
Not bad for 2 hours though, Dano. Hey, look at that. Fucking hell. Can paint.
I always wonder, you always say not bad for 2 hours, and I always think, I wonder what 20 hours of Deno doing Deno style would look like. Maybe one day.
It looks like gigantic dioramas, mate, is what it looks like. There we go. There's too much.
He only posted it 45 minutes ago.
I saw it. Thibaut's version. Yeah, look, it is. I mean, world class.
Yeah.
Is.
Yeah, I mean, I think his last few pieces have just really shown an elevation of his journey as well. Like, he was already a phenomenal painter, and the steps that he's taken recently is just excellent. It's that rising tide effect, Obviously, both of these two gentlemen knew that they were painting this model for the event. Well, maybe not necessarily for the event specifically, but both of them knew that they would be having the opportunity to paint this model. So I'm sure that
there's a good expression actually. Rising tide lifts all boats. Yeah, apt description for this particular piece, and also for our scene in general.
I want to just have a great shout out to Tibu for coming over and competing as well. It's happened a few times before. It's something that we want to see encouraged, and we think we've got a great place to come and visit and check out. So if you are international and you're thinking about it, please come on over and join us.
Join me.
Join Dano. Actually, I was talking to Dave on the way home before we dropped him off, and I said, what, maybe we could have you come on and sit in a stream with us soon. And he thought that could be a bit of a fun idea. What do you think about that?
I'd love to have Dave on, mate. I've never pressured Dave to come on. I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't like leveraging my celebrity, mate.
Yeah, that's fair. This time I thought I would do it instead.
But I'd love to have Dave on. It'd be fantastic to talk to him and get his perspectives on things. I think one thing that Dave is absolutely wonderful for is giving up of his time for just about anyone who asks for it. So maybe we can take a little bit of that load off him and get him to speak to 20 people at once or 50 people at once instead of just 50 individual messages.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we said he'll just come over to my place and we'll just park up here and do it here. You know what I mean? And make it.
I do
pretty
know what you
straightforward.
mean.
You have enjoyed that before when we did it with Natalia. You like talking to folks about minis. Some might say, Dave, that could be equal to the like to paint minis as well. You absolute freak.
If there was ever a tagline that encapsulated Dave Colwell, it's that.
He also loves 1 minute potatoes too.
He also loves inspirational tattoo quotes.
He does. And as I found out, he also loves pink as well, as I found that out on the shuttle bus home. That was my beautiful job was having a chuckle behind Dave as he was telling us how much he loved pink on the way. Did you try micro potato Timbo? Oh god!
My mum and dad went to a Pink concert. Oh my
god!
Like they're in their 60s, and my dad's like, "Oh, Pink was fucking awesome." Like,
listen, man, my mum loves Pink, like loves her, man. And every time she's seen her a bunch, right? And every time she sees her, the first thing she says is she just goes, "It was amazing." And then she'll say, "She's such an entertainer. Look, he's done it." Look what he's written in the chat. So you can imagine when he rips that out in the shuttle bus, Yana just falls off her chair. She's just in tears. It was
oh, that's good stuff. That is good stuff.
Only the DC way.
Outstanding. Glorious.
Hey, by the way, did you see what I'm wearing? Check this out. This is the latest merch, right? In the Painters for Painters tracksuit wear. You can catch this at Inkstone. This is like straight up paint merch. Be comfortable while painting. Copper tracksuit. Yeah.
My girlfriend has given me in no uncertain terms, she said, and this is a true statement, if you ever wear tracksuit pants out in public, we're done. Yeah. That's verbatim. So
well, you know what? I might have to challenge that. I might be at Crimson Brush. I might do a full tracksuit. Actually, not might. I will.
All right.
I might find a 3-stripe. You reckon I can find a 3-stripe?
I mean, committing to a tracksuit in January in Canberra is a very strong and bold move. But no one's ever accused you of being weak.
Yeah. Watch me go.
You absolute loose cannon. Hey, we'll wrap up shortly, but we'll just
Did you just drop the C-bomb on stream?
Did I?
Oh, you did. Oh, that is absolutely a punishable offense. This stream has only ever had, as long as I've been coming here, one C-bomb drop before, and it was one that you said you would never do. Oh. I think the stream legitimately has to come up with a Deno punishment for that. So
I've tried so hard. Look, if you don't know me in real life, I am partial to a few swear words, and I try to cut most of them out on here. I try not to just drop bombs, but to my credit, in the 4 years or whatever I've been doing this, I've only said the C word once on stream.
Yeah.
If I have done it again tonight, that's a travesty.
Yeah, you're going to have to watch the tape back. Can someone get the tape? Craigsog, you're a mod now. Can you get the tape on that one? Can we get evidence? If we get evidence, I want a Deno punishment. I want him put to the juror. The court of public opinion needs to come in, and we need to come up with a punishment for Deno. Now, also, one last thing that I thought about, and this might not be a great idea because, quite frankly, I have vastly more shit ideas than good ones. But so many of this wonderful little pixie right here, where are we?
Yes,
were picked up. This is Sealy. This was the Bust exclusive for Guilds In. I'm sure, or I must have seen a box of at least 40 that went out. I feel like we should sort of. What do you think about a potential call to action? A Sealy painting challenge that we do through the stream, Trent. Set a month to do it or whatever, and then we have a look at everyone's Sealies and make it a bit of fun. And make it actually about what you emphasize so much, which is just painting because we love it, not just painting for competition, not just painting to always grow. And then we bring them up and have a bit of a blast. What do you think about that? Is that something we could do
I think so,
or
mate.
not?
I think that's a great
Yeah.
idea. I think get some Sealy up here.
Yeah, get a bit of Sealy on you. How does
Yeah.
everyone in the chat feel about that? Like, if we maybe we'll go away, maybe we'll ask one of our wonderful friends who do a little bit of graphic design to come up with a little bit of a post we can share around for people who have the model, and we'll get that going. Because
Before we go too off tap about Sealy, and I think that's
Yeah.
a great idea. We'll get it posted in the Dirty Paint Water in Discord and what have you.
Yeah.
I just wanted to quickly reflect on one of the things that really jumps out to me after an event like this, and
Yeah.
it's what I take from it
Mm-hmm.
for Crimson, and you spoke about it a little bit earlier, which was the real value of those social events. You know, the trivia, the Friday night thing, and it was trivia was awesome. I had a
Yeah.
great time. It was a real blast, and whatever happens at Crimson, I think one of our goals needs to be how do we get people just more socially together. You know, I think our lounge does a great job of that, but what some people have observed is that you just tend to go and talk to your groups, and that
Yeah.
tends to be all that happens. And getting everyone to collaborate and talk and is what I'd like to see. So
Something for us to definitely think about, and something that I found myself speaking about tons over the weekend, like tons, was that for us in Australia, distance matters. It's something we've got to constantly fight. So we have to do so much more than just be like, hey, we're a competition.
yeah.
You know what I mean? We have to provide more than that as a reason to come and be a part of something. So for us, it's very much about what we build around it, and more often than not, although yes, the competition might be the sharp point, for me, it's everything else that matters the most. That's where I find myself being the most fulfilled in the space, and it's where I find myself enjoying my time the most. So to the people that I got to share time with, sitting down, just talking about the things that we love. Thanks heaps for that, because although when you're there in a role like we were, where you're sort of often giving, we also like take heaps away from that, and I took so much away from just spending time with you and chatting and listening to your journeys and listening to what you are getting out of painting and where you're going. Something that happens, I guess, when you're in that community building space is that you really just become incredibly invested in people's journeys and seeing people achieve things and achieve them in a way that's the way that they're going about it is just a super cool thing. So appreciate you guys taking that time with me, and I'm sure other facilitators would say that. Not sure about Trent. He might just say, leave me alone and sit in the corner. But
But no one's
then he'll
ever
come on
accused you
here
of being
and do
weak.
all of this. So yeah, watch me go. It's been a great time. It's been a
You
great stream,
absolute loose cannon.
and it was a great.
Hey,
event.
we'll wrap up shortly. But oh my god, I am still okay. I've watched the tape back. It was not the C-bomb. I said the word cannon, not the other one. I said you loose cannon.
You absolutely did not. You absolutely did not.
It's
you
right
absolutely
there,
did.
mate. Listen
Is
to
it?
it.
Let me
Loose
see. Let me
cannon.
see.
Dino.
Let me see.
Come
Let me
on.
see.
Dun, 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 dun. Start spreading the news. Dun, 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 dun. I'm leaving today. I'm gonna
Hold up.
be a part of
Music.
it.
Give me a sec. Let me listen. Hold on. Let me listen. Oh, you did. You did. Fair is fair. Fair is fair. I look. Just as much as you just as much as you know, you may say the C bomb. If you accuse someone of dropping the C bomb, there should be an equal punishment. So maybe I have to take a extreme punishment. What do you think,
It's
mate?
good stuff from me. It's good stuff. No, you're
Yeah.
fine, mate. We all make mistakes. You've made a big
Well, you know, one of the mistakes that you have made, now that we've covered the guilds in, and I'm sure we could do a lot more, is that you actually owe me a piece of your work. I have been sitting on well over 140, 50,000 points. And although you constantly try to bamboozle the newer viewers in the stream with the fact that somewhere deep in the annals of the saturation generation, there was a conversation about 100,000 points from Bucks means a free piece from Deno. I'm still here to hold you to that. It happened, it was said, and you have not paid the tax. Sir.
If you can provide evidence, I mean, you were big on evidence before. You were like, Craigsall, get the evidence happening, mate. So it's interesting that you're not worried about evidence on this, where I've said it on stream. You know,
Sometimes, Trent, very rarely, it's Buxy's world and we're just living in it. Okay? Very, very rarely. And in this time, it's a pink trackie on stream, done. If I can cop a pink tracksuit on stream, you've got me. I'll wear that no problem.
Look, I may have said that. Dave, you earn points just by watching the stream, mate. So that's why you haven't got any points, because you're always asleep at this time.
Yeah.
Look, I don't recall that.
For someone who doesn't recall on it, you've brought it up many times when I've not been around, which suggests that there's maybe a feeling of guilt there, that like maybe you did commit to your mate and someone who you care about. I've only got one Deno piece here. It's a classic. I'm going to go grab it. Actually, I'm going to go remind you of some of your past work. It was,
wanna mess with me tonight.
It was something back in the day. I don't know if you can still hear me. This is a bit of a meme. If you know, I tend to walk away from the screen a little bit. But this bad boy here.
I'm just trying to remember how a Pink song starts.
There we go. Can we kind of see this? Probably not. It's probably horrific. At least you can see the
Take your
shape. Oh well. There we go. Remember this? Do you remember this?
No.
You don't remember Rahel that you painted? The blue one?
I do
Crimson
remember it.
Brush. Crimson Brush 1?
It was a lovely figure, well painted by whoever did that.
Yeah. You painted some really, really good skulls on this, mate. Some
Thank you,
exceptional.
mate. Thank you, mate.
Actually, probably the highlight. But do you know something I learned a lot about this piece? I just want to bring this up. Is that even with your sort of liberal approach to painting and the way that you like to paint, it was the smoothness of it that like kind of baffled me a little bit, because everything feels like it shouldn't be smooth with the way that you do things, and it was. It was just, it really was something I learned from a lot. So I thought that was super cool.
Well, I appreciate that. Fuck smoothness, I always say, mate. You know that. Created a tagline for it.
You're the one of the smoothest painters I know. Pretty funny that, isn't it? I think there's a funny thing about smooth and textured. There's probably a conversation there about smooth and blended.
Let me say this. I was really pleased with my jam session, because I said something that I think was really, like, we probably don't talk about it enough, right? We go to these classes and classes are always, this is how you do something. And I think we've got to get away from the lens that things are bad or good or right or wrong. Smooth and rough are levers, and you are in control of those levers, and how you use those levers is up to you. If you want to make a piece ultra smooth, great. Understand why you're doing that. Understand what it is you're trying to tell.
Probably when and where to deploy it, right? How you use it is actually really quite an interesting topic there. Yes, Dave, the smoke incident, that is correct. That was my Rahel piece that he said put one layer of smoke after feedback from Crimson Brush 2 judging. He said put a layer of smoke on, and Bob's your auntie. And that was a conversation that was had a lot over the weekend after the event. The power of smoke. If you don't own the VMC smoke, just get it because it's so good and it can do so much. And if you want to know what it can do, go back and check out the
On my YouTube
stream that we did on Trent's YouTube for Crimson Brush with Dave, myself, and Trent. With Dave painting and doing a bit of a demonstration about his approach to non-metal metallic. 420 glaze it. That's probably a t-shirt design, right? It's like, I love that t-shirt. I think is it Zemakito's t-shirt? Did he make the one that says "I love rimming" and it's just someone painting the rims of bases? I think that's a great t-shirt.
Peepo was wearing one that said "I love edging."
Yeah, that was him. Yeah, super cool. I love people having a bit of fun with it. That doesn't sound. It does probably. Yeah, wearing a pink tracksuit probably doesn't sound like a punishment. In all honesty, probably needs to be something else.
Just you and your hand tonight. All right.
So, I mean, while you're wrapping it up, was there any like final questions anyone had before we take off? One or two. Happy to finish off with a bang.
God, I feel glad that I didn't say the C word on here.
Yeah. I like. There's a whole. Yeah, it was like everything tightened up. You're like, whoa.
I've actually only done it once. Literally,
Yeah.
I've only done it once on stream.
Yeah.
And I was kicking myself. I was like, And it's so funny because I actually think in general, it just doesn't matter. You know, like swearing it's about intent. I'm not swearing because I want to, upset people. I'm swearing because I like to emphasize my words and, it's funny. But
all right, Dave. Sorry to interrupt you there.
All right. Oh, actually, that is a great way to finish. That is a great way to finish.
Okay, so
before you answer that, we were having a discussion not long ago about how you are feeling about miniature painting and how Arc, changed your perspective. What has this done for you?
That is a good question to ask. So, I have an innately competitive side. However, I feel that I interact with my competitive side pretty well. That's not where I struggle too much. And after achieving some goals that you set out for yourself, and one of the goals that I set out for myself, I achieved at Arc, and that was the goal that I had set out for myself from a long way back, and had fell short quite a few times on that goal. So to achieve that goal was a great feeling, and after that, I guess what changed for me was that my goals shifted. I don't carry one goal. One of my big goals, and it's a shared goal, is what we're doing with the Australian painting scene. That's where my passion really lies, and wanting to contribute to that in any way I can and help the overall health of it, help it grow is something right now that I'm incredibly passionate about. What does that mean for me with my painting? Well, for the time being, I'm not going to be in the competitive painting pool as such, as I am judging at Crimson Brush, and then I think I could well be, after discussing with Andrew Long briefly, that I could be judging Arc as well. So that will knock me out of competitive painting for a little while, unless I make the trip up to a little event, first time event. Little now, but I don't think it'll be little for too long. The Anvil. And the Anvil is something that I do want to support and find a way to support. Now, as we know, it's a little bit challenging to juggle leave and things like that at times. So hopefully I can get there. I can't fully commit to this, but DC and I were in the car, and DC raised. He said, "Andy, how do you feel about us going up to Anvil?" And I said, I feel right now like I want to go home and die, DC. But going to Anvil could be definitely something that we consider doing. And then he said, "How do you think about going up and seeing our friends?" And I said, well, I haven't seen our friend Trent in his hometown for a long time, since QMHE 2022, I believe it was, Trent.
It was.
So it's been a while since we've been up there. So, if I said to him, if Trent is willing to have us for a weekend, then maybe that could be something that we could definitely do.
I'd
So
love to
if
have
that is the case, and we are going up to Anvil, then I would like to paint something, as always, in the spirit of the event. So Anvil is connected to an Age of Sigmar competition, I believe, a Warhammer competition. I think it's connected to Runax. And we know that I am quite fond of Age of Sigmar, and I do have a project hanging over my head, which is called the Descent Part 2. So maybe I
Ooh.
need to do something like that for that event. But early days, a lot of logistics, and not overly committing to that. That would be if I was going to do something competitive. If I'm not going to do that for whatever reason, then I'm probably going to paint one of the many projects I have come home with. So in discussing that, we've got from the fantastic Veiled Lamp. Man, I own so many of these Veiled Lamp models.
Gotta paint some.
But I'm yet to paint them, and that's pretty shit, and I need to be better. So I think I would like to participate in this. Tell me if I'm on camera or not. It's hard for me to see. Where am I? How about this, like, headshot with it?
How about I do this for you, Bucks? Bucks has got
Yeah.
this model.
Yeah, thanks, pal. There we go. Yep, so that one. I recently got the Peter Punk giant model. Does anyone know this one? This is one of my favorite sculpts of the last year. You can't really see it on the box art. I'm going to take it out. I think it's an absolute cracking sculpt. And it's very, probably quite bucksy, people would say. You know me well, this little chap. Deno, I
Yep.
think you'd be on board for this. You know this little freak?
It's a Bucksy. It's a Bucksy
Yeah,
special.
that little freak. He's not really little, he's a giant. What have I got here? I was awarded for my contribution to the event. I was awarded a really cool Carol Rudick piece. I've never painted something from Carol Rudick.
Oh, were you?
So one of these ones here, and
Lady
you
the
know,
Lake.
that could be
Very
a really
nice.
great way to challenge myself in a new way of thinking about painting. I've got that option. I've got here we've got Sigrun from Black Crow Miniatures, an absolute cracker. Two wonderful versions of this painted already. The two box arts, the box art and the alternate box art. Obviously one from Arnau and one from Land. So another banger. I had to leave 5 pieces behind because I didn't have enough space in my bag. I've got 2 more to show. I have this one from Pegaso. This appeals to my ongoing love affair with historical miniatures. I actually did a little bit of preparation for this, a little bit of learning exercise with Tartan. So that could be an option for a bit of fun. Finally, the lovable and always pesky Jim from Stonebeard Miniatures. Knew that there was a model that I really, really wanted to get my hands on, but it was going to be really hard to do so. And as he loves to do, he likes to play games, as Timbo and him and Jared say. They play games with each other, and they decided they were going to play games with me. So Jimbo, the lovable Jimbo, and Reed, I want to say as well, decided that they were going to leave me a little gift under one of my jumpers where we were staying, and so they provided me with this model here.
Oh, that's a great model.
Yeah.
Where's my jumper model, Jim? You fuck.
So big shout out to Jim. You know, this is the kind of caring person that he is that he probably heard me mention that once and went off on his merry way and went and did Jim things, and now I have this model in my collection. I have that one there. So I have an abundance of choice to choose from. Lots of different parts of miniature painting. I'll be looking forward to choosing one of them and sinking in. And I will probably paint them with the intent to learn. I think that's where my intention is right now. I want to just put this out there. I think that the overall skill and level of painting at the Guild's Inn filled me with pride, filled me with excitement, and most of all fueled my desire to want to progress myself, and you know, hang with everyone that's that's doing what they're doing. You know, as we've said it before, we'll say it again: a rising tides lifts all boats, and I want to be a part of the boat, and I want to be one of those. I want to be part of the tide and one of those boats on that. So, a strong time for me to spend learning.
And on that nautical note, we shall bring to a close this evening's festivities. Andy is still yet to provide any evidence that suggests I need to paint a figure for him. Hashtag standard sucks. I think we should get rid of this standard gang for life or whatever it was. You know,
Hashtag get ready for Sealy Squad.
Sealy
It's coming.
Squad. Yeah, no, Sealy Squad's actually a cool idea. We should definitely do that. Seven Dwarves. Yeah, I've got it up there, Dave. Yeah, I might do that next. I'm sort of in the midst of this
Oh.
diorama dealio, but
I should actually say, Dave probably prompted me because we did have a conversation in the car about potentially doing a
Spiro.
Warhammer off.
Spirit
A
Sunday.
Warhammer off, actually, like an Elder or something. But now that you've said that, there's a Spirit Sunday. So maybe we need to. Do we need to fire up Spirit Sunday, Trent?
Spirit
Do we
Sunday.
need to? Do we need to make it happen again? Do
Well,
I
this-
need to come on and join you for a Sunday stream?
This
and
is a Spirit
do it as a
Sunday.
starting
I
point?
started this on a
That
Spirit
was.
Sunday.
Facts are, bangers always appear on Spirit Sunday. Have you noticed that? Whenever a Spirit Sunday starts, good things finish. So
All right. Fantastic to chat tonight, Andrew. It was wonderful to see you. Wonderful to see you all. Hope you had a fantastic time. Thank you. We will be back. I'll be back Sunday. Bucks might be back next week.
yeah, we'll see. I definitely just want to. I want to. You can do your, you do your sign off, but I just want to say again, thanks to everyone that came to the Guilds Inn, and honestly, thank you all for just entering. It just means so much to the event to have people there, and putting their stuff out there. It's just so cool to see, and we've got to keep going. Much love to everyone who came. Much love to everyone who comes to the stream. And much love to anyone who hasn't come yet but is thinking about it. We'll see you in the future. Big love. Deno out.
Big Deno out.